Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, coming to you from the 2023 Moontower Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. My sometime co-hosts Ms. Purrington and Mookie are resting at home. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, we bring you articles, album reviews, our advice column, Rochelle Takes on Comedy, a festivals page, an FPIA page where you can see the history of the contest, and you'll find all the best comedy shows on our events pages for Austin, Houston, and DFW. If you're a comic in those cities and want your show featured on the calendar, click Submit a Show at the top of our homepage to complete the short survey. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we'll share your show promo. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Comedy Wham. Looking for ways to support all these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Search for Comedy Wham on Patreon and check out our subscriber perks. Now let's get back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and we usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the comedy scene as fascinating off stage as it is on stage. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today we are recording live on location at the Driscoll Hotel. Let's pray that we don't get flagged for the music being piped in. Our guest today was our fourth guest ever on the podcast, and it was the first and only time that I did a spit take that almost destroyed my recording gear. We had him back on location from his new home in New York City 5 years ago when he was still working open mics and shows and was starting to pick up momentum. He was a 2017 New Faces pick at Just for Laughs. He's been a writer for The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. He had one of my favorite cameos on the hit Hulu show This Fool as the innocent Julio Tambien, which is a great name. You've heard him on the National Lampoon's Radio Hour. There's more. I'm reading more. His stand-up set on Jimmy Kimmel Live is one of my favorite late-night sets ever. And I'm so thrilled to have him back in Austin, even if it's just for a few days. Welcome back. Comedy Wham Presents Martin Urbano.
Woo. Great intro. Who's the first guest?
The Sure Thing guys.
Oh.
And
Together.
Duncan and Brendan. And I try every anniversary to have one or both of them back on in some way. The 1 or 2 years that I didn't, I always make a joke of this. It's not mean-spirited at all, but Brendan gave me shit for the year that I skipped inviting them. So, yeah.
How are they doing?
I mean, it's still running. It's now a paid show. You must have, because the pandemic really... They lost the Austin Java location because it shut down completely, and then they were trying to find a new venue, and then the pandemic hit. They landed at Fallout, and they lost their whole cachet of being a free show. They started charging, but it's stuck. And then the pandemic, they went on pause, but it's still going. Cool. They argued that it's the longest running showcase. So
I remember when I first moved here.
2011, 12, yeah.
Wow, crazy times.
I know, and now you're in New York, and so are we going to see, I'm just going to cut straight to the chase, are we going to see Julio Tambien come back? Are you allowed to say?
I just filmed season 2.
Yay! Because I was wondering, so if anybody hasn't watched the amazing This Fool on Hulu, you come in as like a really small character. 2 episodes?
One episode. This will be 2.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, he's so great, but of course I'm biased. And I'm like, how are they going to bring him back? But I'm happy to hear they are bringing you back.
In one of the episodes, I'll be doing about the same size of a role, and then in the other episode, it gets crazy. Ooh. I'm excited about it.
Nice.
It's awesome.
And they just picked up recording the second season, right?
They just finished.
They just finished.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I was the last scene of the last day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because anyway.
Yeah. I know you cannot divulge anything. Right. But that's exciting. That was a really high profile, opportunity to land that. Are you starting to see the trickle effect and picking up more?
No.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. I think probably after this one it'll be good to have like a little sizzle
Yeah,
reel.
yeah.
They put me on camera for the Tonight Show, despite other things about it. But so I think I'll have a nice little
very memorable spaceman sketch.
People think I wrote that one. I didn't write it.
Really?
Yeah, they just wanted me to. They like my pretty little face. Well, season 2. It'll be good.
Nice.
It'll be good.
Well,
a lot of people,
congratulations.
so many people reached out to me about that show. So many people from back home, back in Brownsville.
Yeah.
Like high school friends who I hadn't talked to in years.
Oh my gosh.
Reached out. They're like, "Hey, we're just watching this show, this fool, and you came out." It's like the most anybody has ever reached out to me about anything I've ever done.
Even bigger, even more than your Jimmy Kimmel set?
More than Kimmel, because Kimmel was like, "Oh, people knew I was on it. That's why they watched it." This one, they were just like, "We had no idea you were in it, and you came out, and it was exciting for them."
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. I usually have an icebreaker and a closing question. I will reserve those for you at the end. We're just going to have
the icebreaker and the closing question for the end.
Okay, all right. So the icebreaker is one word to describe your past, and you actually did change yours. So originally, your past word was comedy. And then in 2018, when you came back, or when we recorded again, your past word, you changed it to hilarious.
That's pretty good. I'm going to stick with hilarious on that one.
Stick with that one? Okay.
That's pretty solid.
All right. Well, we're going to...
I stand by with whatever I said in 2018. That's as far as I can vouch for the things I said.
Yeah. I got a chance to watch you. I don't have any other planned questions because I consider you, friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I have your cell number, but I consider you a friend from knowing.
Well, my
you as
cell
a
number
baby.
is.
Okay, let's do it. It's not the first time somebody's given their cell number.
Really? Who was it? Who did?
Was it Rojo? It was Rojo. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Rojo's great.
So we're just going to have a meandering conversation.
Perfect.
I got to see your set during Good Pollution.
Yes.
Which, when you were in Austin, had Clara started comedy yet?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Under
so I don't know if you ever.
name.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So. I'm not meaning to turn this into a conversation about Clara. I just wanted to know if you knew, because anybody that has watched her become, such a powerful, like with this Good Pollution, it's such a cool concept. It's so crazy and wild, and it's so her. And compared to, her early days as a comic, it's like night and day.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember her being funny.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely remember her, but I've also heard good things since. Whenever Chris Gethard was here, did you see those shows?
I don't know that I did.
I can't remember where he did it, if it was at Cap City or at, it might have been at Creek in the Cave or something. I don't know. He was here at some point.
Yeah.
And I think Claire was opening for him, and Chris spoke very highly of her. So I was like, oh, that's good. That's cool. And she spoke very highly of me, which felt nice.
Well, of course. But what's cool is, for a while, and certainly one of the things that has happened with the Austin comedy scene post-pandemic, it has radically changed. And when you left, I felt there was a real gap in the really weird comedy.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know who else was doing super weird comedy. I hate that I have seemed to lost my little Posey picture.
Oh, no.
Because I know for a while I was keeping that in a wallet or something. Because I remember watching you do that. I know Laura remembers watching you when you were doing the pocket full of Posey bit. And
that's a throwback joke. I was rewatching one of Bo Burnham's specials. I don't know. Are you a Bo Burnham fan?
I haven't watched much. No.
I'm a big Bo Burnham fan.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna go to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year.
First time?
First time ever. I've been obsessed with it for a while, and I remember Bo went there with one of his shows. I guess it was Words, that special that he did. and I had a great time and like won like a bunch of awards and people loved it over there. So I was like, oh, let me watch his special again and see what the vibe of comedy was. And I was like, oh, I was like ripping him off completely when I was like living here in Austin. Like he has a bit where he has like a pocket full of something, you know. It's like, I mean, it's, you know, I did my own creative take on it or whatever, but it was yeah.
So flash forward to watching you do a set.
Sorry, my date's here.
Very, very relevant to what I'm about to say, because you do have a joke about something along those lines. Getting to see you do a set the other night at Good Pollution, I had not, because...
Did you see me in 2018?
I don't think we did, right? We didn't see him do any shows.
I don't think I had any shows.
Yeah, so the last time that I've literally seen you do stand-up was before you left. So
FPIA
17.
maybe?
I remember going to your going away.
Oh, that
show.
one, yeah.
There was
2016.
like you had 2 shows in one night, and I chased you from one to the
other. Oh, nice. Where was it at? I remember
know
one as a
one at
Kick Butt.
Yeah.
And then must have been New Movement, I guess? New Movement at the time, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Or Spider House Ballroom, I can't remember.
I feel like I don't think it was Spider House.
Yeah. I think it was smaller, maybe. But anyway, so it's been like forever since I've seen you do stand-up. And I'm pleased to report, as an official journalist, oh, nobody's clapping. Okay, fine. That the creepy weirdo factor is still 100% still there.
Sure.
But like the tightness and speed at which you deliver now, it's like, oh wow, this is like pro comic level now.
Thanks. Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah.
You know, I never really I was watching. Do you know Emmy Blotnick?
No.
Are you familiar with Emmy Blotnick? She's a very funny comedian out in New York, and I remember watching her maybe like last year sometime and just being like, oh, this is like what a professional looks like, just like killing and making it look effortless. And I was like, that was huge for me to see, because I mean, I had seen professional comedians, but usually at the shows that I'm on, they're like dicking around or whatever. And she was like getting ready for like a late night set, so it made extra sense why she was so polished. But I was like, oh, this is what professional comedy looks like. So I've been striving for that. So it's good that I'm giving the illusion.
Well, even the Kimmel set was like, you could, it was good, but with what I saw at Good Pollution, it's like, oh, like this is really tight. It's a really good, nice, solid set. Not that Kimmel was not. I'm not saying that.
It was a wonderful debut that I'm very happy with how it turned out. But
and it's still
I'm
so
very
good.
excited with the stuff I got going on now.
Yeah. And you know, one thing I loved about the Kimmel set, because I hadn't seen you since you left Austin, was you kept, you Mad Libs bit, which was something that you did many a time in Austin. Do you still hang on to that bit, or is that something that you've...
I'll come back with my full hour, and you'll see what I've done with that particular one.
Oh, exciting! Exciting. So you've just dropped the hint. So full hour, is this something in the works, or is this what you're going to do?
I mean,
at
it's what I'm going to do at the Fringe, and I've been going on the road. I hadn't really been on the road before. Like I did like a Go Bananas one time in Cincinnati, and like that's like pretty much it, random one-nighters and stuff. But now I've kind of got like some dates together. I'll be in Chicago next weekend.
Cool.
Did Vermont, which was a lot of fun. So it's like I've been working on building an hour, taking it to Fringe, and then hopefully selling it somewhere, or just recording it. We'll see what happens.
Edinburgh is like takes over the entire town. The month of August is the comedy part, right?
Yes, it's crazy. Scotland.
Yeah. Are you nervous at all?
Very, very much so. Yeah. I mean, I've talked to like a lot of people about it. I kind of get varying opinions. But for the most part, people have been very positive, which makes me feel good. But it's still nerve-wracking. It's a big financial gamble. It's a big, commitment. A month and change, like the week before and the week after are all going to be a part of it. So it's like 6 weeks of just like being in that. And not... I mean, I guess the idea is you maybe can kind of make money to start a successful run. What they say is you break even. And it's like, that's terrifying. That's scary.
Yeah. But the credentials, for some people, they care, that they're impressed by.
The hope is I can finagle it into more UK dates and stuff, more overseas get some press, get some eyes on it.
Yeah. Well, have you heard about how the shows work? That like you're reviewed live, and they post reviews of your shows like the day after, and that's like make or break. And
Yeah.
It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah. I am very nervous.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed.
Yeah. Cool. How do you go about creating a tour for yourself?
I have an agent. Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. Which I've had before, but I at the beginning of pandemic, my touring agent, who was on medical leave, let's say, was fired. And because they were like, we don't need a touring agent at the beginning, during pandemic. And then nobody told me.
Oh God.
Not my agent, not the agency. No, I found out through a friend like a month later.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I kind of didn't like being here anyway. Like nobody really communicated with me, and this is like the most obvious thing. So I left them, and then didn't have anybody until like November. And with them, they kind of got me some dates.
And now you'll have one forever because you're.
If I keep doing well, that's the hope.
What's this if?
If I can, it's a hard field. It's a hard field. Plenty of good comedians have stalled out, I suppose.
Sure.
And it could happen to me.
Yeah.
And I have to be aware of that.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to be fine.
How did you survive through the pandemic? Because as you may have heard, New York, because I certainly heard, New York was completely shut down, really hardcore about their lockdown, which is why we inherited a lot of comics from across the country.
Sure.
Because Texas was like, hey.
Well, especially L.A. I know a lot of L.A. L.A. I think shut down at a level that was even, like, they didn't even come back until way after New York came back. Some people say they haven't even fully come back yet.
Oh, wow.
But I think that's just the nature of how things have changed and the internet and TikTok, all that. That's a whole different bag. I mean, there were still like rooftop shows and like park shows in New York, which I think it lends itself to stuff like that. But I didn't really do any of those. I was like, I want to do it inside in a packed room with a bunch of people around me. So I'm not going to do it. Once I pick something back up, I'm like, I want to just do it like crazy, So I was like, let me just wait. So I didn't do it for like a full year. And the way I survived was a little thing called unemployment. That was so awesome. That was great. Trump sent me $1,000 at one point. That was cool.
Tight.
Makes me happy I voted for him.
Well, Martin, that concludes today's. How did you keep your creative juices going during that?
For 3 months, I did nothing. I was just like, for less dramatic of a, but like I was, I can't do stand-up anymore. I was mourning the loss of being able to do that potentially forever. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to play video games all day for 3 months, and I did, and it was awesome. But then I started doing like the Zoom shows and stuff. I was like, my stand-up doesn't, it's like I want to like build something specifically for this, and I just don't feel like this is what I want to do. But I was talking with a friend, my friend Adam Gold, and before pandemic started, I was wanting to do a game show called Who Wants 269. And that's all I had. I was like, I want to do a game show 269. And so I talked to him about it, and then he kind of reached out to me in like June of 2020 and was like, hey, there's this group of people. They're called Planet Scum. They're like Chris Gethard fans. They were fans of like this other like public access project Chris was working on that I did some of the amateur classes on it, fake comedy classes. And they're doing some Twitch shows, like some other people. Mary Houlihan was doing a show. Some other people were doing shows. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds fun. They get like a few hundred viewers live on Twitch. It's like, okay, this seems like a fun thing to focus on. So just every week, I created, a bunch of new trivia questions in my voice and created this thing and felt very happy to have something that occupied all of my time. Like, truly, it was just like that full week. I was like trying to come up with new games, trying to come up with new trivia, so I'd have to like do the research, write the jokes. I'd want like a joke in the question and then like a joke answer on letter D, and I had to like book the people. So it kept me so busy. It was so much fun. That's what I did. Yeah. I think it really helped me learn how to write jokes even better than I had before, because I had to.
Yeah.
Every Monday I had to. I mean, no one was holding me accountable. I could have totally just canceled and be like, I don't want to do it anymore. Sure. I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
How long did it run? Because I know it seemed like it ran for a healthy amount.
Probably for about like almost a year.
Yeah.
But as soon as things started opening back up, I was like, I don't have time for this. This is so much work. Yeah. As soon as there was anything else available, I stopped. But
yeah,
that's fun.
What kind of shows do you do when you're in New York and you're? Well, I guess this happens to a lot of people that are in New York. When you've been on TV, do you still just do the regular little showcases around town and and hit up the open mics?
I haven't done an open mic in I guess a long time now, but if somebody books me for a show, I'll say yes. I've done some crappy shows, but so
name them.
There was one show there's a place called the Brooklyn Comedy Collective, which I like. I like as a place. The BCC, and I remember going out and just feeling like I'm so tired. I really don't want to. The weather was horrible. I think it was like a snowstorm out, and I was like, I guess I'm gonna go. I should go to this place all the way in Brooklyn. I live in Manhattan, so I was like going over there. And there were literally 3 people in the audience. This must have been in December, I guess, and I regretted it. I regretted it, but you know what? I'll still do any show that anybody asks me.
Yeah.
As of now, if I can.
Yeah. Well, and now you're motivated by preparing for the festival.
Yeah, I'm trying to take advantage of all the stage time that's available.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that people like me out there.
Yeah. I'm curious, since you did that game show and you've done sketches on a TV show, is your show at Edinburgh going to be a mix, or is it going to be straight stand-up?
It's just a stand-up hour.
Yeah.
It's my stand-up for an hour. I'm working on a new game show idea. Maybe trying to pitch it more in the podcast space. But I just want to do an hour of stand-up, and I have, you see my stuff. It's like a little audience interaction-y in some parts. I don't do that burger joke bit anymore, but I have some other bits that are very reminiscent of that, and it's just stand-up then.
Just stand-up.
And the game show, I think I'd make a good game show host, so I'm still pushing for that.
Yeah.
But I want to host Wheel of Fortune or something. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Eventually, Pat will die.
Eventually. Fingers crossed. That one, Mental Samurai. Have you heard of that one? Rob Lowe hosted one where it's people get strapped into a chair, and it's a theme park ride where the chair is attached to a crane in this sphere. And on each corner of the sphere, there's it's history, math, science, and that. So they're strapped into this crane, and they get moved over to the history. They're Abraham Lincoln, and then they get moved over to the math 4. It's the most fun. I would love to do a reboot of that show and host that show. That's my goal. That's my dream.
Wow, game show host.
Mm-hmm. That's the next big thing for me.
Yeah,
I can feel it. Or my own. Either one.
Yeah. How has it felt? I do remember that actually you did come through Austin after you left, because there was a tour with you, Maggie May, Daniel Webb, and Kelsey Caine, and so I don't remember which year that was.
I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019. I really can't remember.
So you did come back, but here you're you're here for a few more days. How does it feel being in Austin, in your origin city for starting out comedy?
It's surreal. It's fun. I like what they've done with the place. Just
you? The buildings
new
are-
laws and the new those are cool.
Of course
The
you
new
would like them.
the new club that opened up where you can say whatever you want.
That club does seem to be a hit.
It's refreshing. That's what I'm hearing. Have you been?
I have not.
No.
No.
Would you go?
If I could go for free.
How much are tickets? Have you looked them up?
I think they're 50 at the least is my guess. I think we're getting some live fact checking happening. They have clamped down pretty aggressively on resale. Like they will not honor any resold tickets because when they first opened, people were buying and then trying to resell for thousands of dollars.
Whoa.
Because it was such a
Yeah.
deal.
Is it a secret lineup or is it posted?
It's
Are there
a secret-
headliners?
I think it's a secret lineup.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do follow their Instagram feed, and they post pictures of the nightly shows after, and I am impressed at how few women they manage to book on their show.
Damn, that is cool.
Quite a streak that they have going.
What women have they booked?
I think in the first week they did have Roseanne Barr, another uncontroversial public figure of comedy.
I mean, honestly, the most controversial thing at this point is how bad she was at doing her new special.
Yeah.
I posted, so there was that clip that went viral on Twitter of her from her special that was just like, my pronouns are kiss my ass. Which I was like, this is bad. And then somebody was like, this is, Ted Cruz made that joke at like a political rally like a year before. So it's like, not only is it so bad, it's like, not only is it hacky on its surface level, it's the worst politician, least funny person of all time said it a year before at a fucking political rally. But anyway, so I quote tweeted that and I was like, thrilled to announce that I wrote some jokes for the legendary Roseanne Barr's comedy special. Hey, classic, good old-fashioned fun.
Yeah.
But people, like, the comments are, and I explore a little bit in this on my show, on my new hour, but like the people being like, oh, why would somebody commented like, LMAO, why would anybody ever be proud of like saying that they wrote for this garbage, like angry at me. But I'm like, yes, that's the joke, like why would anybody be proud of like this, like to share this clip and be like, I'm so happy to announce I wrote these jokes and it's the worst jokes of all time, so I just liked it and I didn't, and I moved on.
Okay, we're getting a live fact check here.
Live fact check.
I think the soonest tickets that were available are for next Tuesday.
Oh,
All right,
shit.
see you next Tuesday, everyone.
General admission 30.
Oh,
not bad.
VIP booth seating 45.
okay.
Wow.
But that is a Tuesday.
And is that the
Okay.
little man or the big man? Because you may not know this,
What?
but yes, there are two rooms. They are named after the bombs from I forgot which nuclear bombs.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Or?
One of those. I'm so bad at history. My son knows more.
Yeah.
So there's Little Man and Fat Man.
Fat Man, yeah.
Oh,
so they're named
yeah.
after these bombs, and I'm like,
Classy.
so does that mean everybody's gonna bomb, or you're gonna kill people?
I think the idea is that they let some unfunny person name those rooms. They're like, be edgy.
you know that they were
funny too? No, just edgy.
Yeah. So.
Put your phone in this pouch.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm not a fan of the whole pouch thing.
I've never been to a show where they've done that.
Yeah.
But I make it happen every time I do a show. I bring some pouches.
And do you just hang on to the pouches?
Yeah,
and then
it's more like a little
randomly hand
magic
them
trick.
people?
Yeah. I put them in the pouch and then they disappear. It's a fun little. Then I sell them.
That's very smart. So surreal being back here.
Yeah, because the last time I was here, it was for literally one night. Mm-hmm. And so it's like I didn't really like spend any real time looking at the city, walking around. So this is day 3 of 4.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is like fun to. Oh,
Are you sick of it?
I bombed there,
Oh.
that's not there anymore. Mug Shots is gone.
Yeah.
my one place I would go to ever.
Yeah. Kickbutt is still going.
Kickbutt's still going, but it's like I'm not. I don't have a car and I don't have any gigs over at the new Cap. Yeah. So I'm just like staying central here, and it's like it's interesting.
Yeah. Has your family come to visit you while you've been here, or do they not love you anymore?
They live in Brownsville. Yeah.
Well, right.
But
so it's closer than.
I'm gonna go see
New
them
York.
on Sunday.
Nice.
Instead of flying back before I go back to New York, I'm gonna go down to Brownsville for a few days.
Yeah. We've talked about Rogan's Club. What else could we possibly talk about to bring this conversation up?
You tell me.
Talking about the Austin serial killer. No.
Oh yeah, what's happening with that? I'm kind of hearing about that.
Yeah, because
Now that I'm bringing the mood up.
Yeah, my boyfriend's like, be careful. There's a serial killer loose.
But
and
isn't he's killing men only?
First. We know these things.
The serial killer's killing men only, right? Is that a part
I
of
think
it?
so, and they're all.
Is this the lake thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
so
don't
they
know
are
if it's really a serial killer.
I've been hearing
Facebook,
that.
But now there's whole
there's
sites
definitely-
devoted to it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So.
Murder She Wrote is about.
But it's not our first serial
Murder, She Wrote.
killer. Sorry to be on your podcast.
Don't apologize. This is Laura. She's a longtime collaborator.
But, I mean, we had the one in the 1800s, so I mean,
that one.
we practically, like all Austin hipster things, we were the first, before Jack the Ripper. And then, we had the rock thrower guy on 35.
Oh, sure.
That was a serial thing.
Yeah.
That was
Then we
just a
had the
kid,
bomber.
though, right?
The bomber.
The
The bomber
bomber?
wasn't that many years ago. That was during South by Southwest of 20 something, 16, 17.
Oh, wow.
18, something.
I didn't hear about this bomber.
Oh, it
Yeah.
made national news. There was at least 4 or 5.
There's Tony Hinchcliffe?
He wasn't in Austin yet.
Sorry.
Oh,
Or
sorry.
I guess he could have been, but
You were saying bomb, yeah, I just
Covert.
thought.
Martin, what is it with you and the Brogans?
What do you mean? I love them. I respect them. I would never say a bad word about them. You can say
Actually,
anything.
one of the
You can say
drop-ins
anything you
tonight
want.
on, one of the shows with the hidden lineup.
Yeah, probably right. He lives here. I guess it's probably not good to just be shouting out names, but I don't know.
Is it weird to be like practicing comedy where your thing very much is saying things that shouldn't be said, but you do it so coyly and like delivered in a way that's innocent, if that
Disarming.
makes any disarming, yeah. Versus knowing that there's groups of comics that they will say the thing that you're not supposed to say, and they're not nearly as disarming.
I think shit's so like lame, I think a lot of what they do is so just like bores me to tears, is really corny and lame and just like the hack. I mean, Roseanne's performing there, and it's like, if anybody of them actually like the idea that they respect her because she's saying those things rather than actually, they're like, all that matters is something that's funny. It's like, that's so subjective, and to me that's not funny. So I'm now a PC liberal snowflake cuck just because I think that comedy's bad. I don't know. It's so when you're in like elementary school and like the kid who's like kind of a bully, it's like you can't win. It's it's like either you think what I'm saying is funny, or I don't know. I have so many opinions about it. If it's I'm funny, and if you don't think so, you're wrong. It's like, that's so unfair because I don't think you're funny. I don't know. Some of those people are good, but for the most part, I just can't stand all of that stuff.
Well, we've essentially become a New York City, a Los Angeles, where there are so many different types of comedy. Like until they
That's
showed
what I'm
up,
hearing.
we were a healthy alt scene, close knit. And now we're just like, okay, well, there's something for everyone. If you want to hear the super offensive thing and you think, that's hilarious because they're just saying whatever, we're thinking anyway. And then you've got the alt scene existing. It's like, okay, well, we're just a more diverse scene.
Yeah.
And New York is a massive scene.
Sure.
So they must have, that type of comic and the alt scene, the super alt scene.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like to perform everywhere, and I think places that are just so like, I don't know. This club sounds so silly to me. This like putting phones and like you can say whatever you want here. It's like you can say whatever you want anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like most places aren't actually going to stop you. It feels like a marketing thing. You know, it feels like a marketing ploy to be like, you can say anything here. You can say anything anywhere. It's not illegal.
Yeah.
You're not going to get arrested for it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just people will be like, yeah. I mean, it's just like people of different opinions will see it, and maybe they're going to be like, what, I thought that was bad. I'm not scared of that.
Yeah.
Like, I relish in that. I'm like, what do you think about my jokes?
Yeah.
Person who isn't completely on my wavelength. And sometimes I'm like, I disagree with you. I think you're stupid. And sometimes I'm like, actually, that's a really good point. And I think my comedy has only gotten better by listening to people being like, actually, that triggered me. That made me feel bad. I'm like, okay, let me try to rearrange that joke, because what is this joke at its core? Oh, actually, I don't even think it's that funny. It was just like clever word usage, whatever.
Yeah.
The jokes that I really like work on every level, and I know what I'm saying, and I'm most proud of those jokes. I'm not like, if I looked at that stuff and was like, you're fuck you, I'm doing what I'm doubling down, like you're a pussy, you know, it's easy to do that. It's so much easier to do, like, you don't like what I'm doing, you're wrong. That's so easy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do something that's so that. Then at what point does it stop? You know, if I go up and I say, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? Oh, you didn't laugh at that, you fucking PC liberal snowflake cucks. It's like, what you know? It's an old joke that people have said a million times, and it doesn't really make sense, and people don't like it. It's like, no, you're wrong. Can't stand that shit. Anyway, what were we saying?
Yeah, I have no idea. No, I think we're talking about like the Austin scene and how it's changed, but you know, we're still in our growing pains of, you know, there's the people that were here as part of the alt scene before, who've come back after COVID to a scene that, you know, is invaded by Rogan and Hinchcliffe and everybody that came to
They're
Austin
cool though. I want to
because
make it
of
clear
them.
I like them.
I mean, they are probably very wealthy individuals because of their platforms.
And wealth means good at comedy, specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
All of the richest comedians are the funniest. I don't know. It's also like, you know, that there is something about that to me. Like, I know I'm going off in my own tangents and stuff, but like, there is something that prevents me from really saying exactly what I'm, because I'm like, I don't know, they're more successful. They can sell out these giant rooms with tons of people who are obsessed with them, and they're making so much money. It's like, so who am I to critique? And I'm like, well, you know who I am? A guy who is just some guy, you know, just like they're some guy, you know? It's like, and I'm an up and coming guy figuring things out, and these are my opinions. Yeah. And I will change them once I get wealth and can fit in with that crowd. Of course, I will change instantly. Please let me in. I want money. I'll sell out. I'll be a shill, a grifter. Actually, you can't say anything anymore. You're right. Anyway.
Well, I think we're just still going through our growing pains versus a New York or LA that has figured all this out and how to harmoniously exist, you know, and not cross the rivers.
Sure, yeah. It does help in New York that the boroughs are pretty, like, distinct. Like, overall, like, Brooklyn versus Manhattan. Like, there are people who will never venture into Brooklyn. There are people who never perform in Manhattan. Yeah. So there is that. But there is also that constant, you know, comedy war or whatever going on there, too. Yeah. But I guess it's like, this is more of a burgeoning, you know, scene with that kind of stuff. But I don't know, it seems like the mothership stuff is very separate than Cap or the Velve, or I don't know, I guess the Creek might be like a mutual stomping grounds for people maybe, and I don't know.
And then there's a place called Vulcan, which is kind of the pre-mothership. What do you miss about Austin? Anything?
I don't know. I like it here.
Yeah.
It's nice.
But you
I
really
have fond memories, but I really love New York. Yeah. And my family's doesn't live here. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't come back here super often, and I love New York. What I loved about Austin when I moved here is what I love even more about New York, which is just stage time. More people that the just number of comedians are more over there.
Yeah. You don't book your own show. You don't have a show that you book. Like all of the shows that you've put together have been like the game show or the comedy training special series that you did. You don't ever book a show in a traditional sense.
What do you mean, like a showcase?
Yeah. Or do you? Am I
No,
poorly researched?
I haven't done that in forever.
Okay.
I don't. The reason I don't is I don't like telling people no.
Huh.
And I hate being inundated with people reaching out being like, hey, can I do your show? And then having to tell them no. So I'm like, I'd rather just not do a showcase show. Yeah. And also I don't like to host if I can help it.
Yeah. Your style of comedy doesn't work super well as
I would get something different out of it or whatever. Like, and it's like I don't have interest, and the cons prevent me. I've thought about it, been like, oh, maybe I should. Maybe I could be the guy to like do like the cool midnight show that everyone goes. I'm like,
You could have been the next Chris Gethard show.
Sure. Well, I mean, and that wasn't even like a showcase show, that was like his own, So I have more interest in something like that. Yeah, like the game show, or just if I'm going to put together a show, it's just going to be my hour, and then I have somebody open for me, and I'm like, that's great, that's enough.
Yeah. All right. So if you have an hour and you have somebody open for you, what kind of opener do you choose? Somebody who's also a little bit weird and off kilter, or do you pick somebody that is like a total contrast from your style?
For this hour especially, I like to have a contrast. I learned from like Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah.
He will always have like female openers who have a very different style of comedy to him.
Yeah.
And I really understand that now, especially working on this type of material. I'm like, I don't want it to be like. Even recently, like I had like a guy who's very similar in, I didn't book him, but somebody booked him for the show, and he had a very similar style to me. And I think, it is tough to like play with that. But I think for the audience, they're just like, oh, I've kind of already seen this like already for like, 20 minutes, so it's a little bit less effective. It kind of helps. I think just any show in general, you want as much different, a bunch of diversity or whatever, like as far as stylistic.
You mean like having men and women and LGBTQ friendly and
but
a diverse lineup?
I mean, I think even just stylistically,
Yeah.
but and it ends up being like that. The different styles can start veering into. So I've for this show, when I'm booking openers, I only book women as of now. Because I'm like, you don't want to see like I have plenty of dude friends who I like their comedy, of course, and stuff, but it's like I'm like before me, and then you see me, and then it's like this like people still even now don't fully get that what I'm doing. So it's like if I have like a bro open for me, and then it's me, it's like you could leave the wrong message. So. I just had my friend Sarah Hennessy open when I just did it in New York last week or 2 weeks ago or something, and she was great. She was actually like a really perfect opener. I've had a lot of good friends, very funny friends open for me, but Sarah was really good.
That's cool.
If you know Sarah Hennessy?
I don't.
Look her up. She's really funny.
Okay, I will. Yeah, it's cool when I see somebody being picked as an opener because they work well, and from Austin comedy graduates, you've got Vanessa, who's paired up with Chelsea Handler, and then Daniel Webb and Margaret Cho.
Sure.
It's like, oh, that's really cool that they kind of found the complementary piece to their.
And they do well for them and stuff. And I've opened up for Melissa Villasenor and Chris Gethard, who it's like they like to have me because we're friends and like it's fun to hang out and we have a good time and we have similar sensibilities. But their audiences hate me. They hate me so much.
I could see Melissa's, but I'm surprised at Chris.
You saw the bit, the Women's March bit that I did?
I don't.
Last night, I was sitting on the stool.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, I was sitting on the stool. And that whole chunk, I tried to work on when it was in its very, very early stages. I was opening it up for Chris. Those were some of my first shows back post pandemic, and the silence that those bits would get discouraged me from even. I was like, should I just drop these jokes completely? But I was like, okay, I gotta drip the irony a little bit more, get a little sillier with it, get a little whinier with it.
Yeah.
And then so it's now those bits are very strong, but I definitely remember just oh yeah. I mean, Gethard's crowds, it's more of a mixed bag. Yeah. Sometimes they'll like me, and sometimes they'll be like, "Who is this? What's going on?" And then Melissa's crowds hate me so much.
It's so funny. We're gonna start wrapping up. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want to talk about? Anybody else you want to trash?
Ooh, who do you want to trash?
Oh, I think I've already done it. So.
Who do you not like in the scene? There's a handful of people. Give me a hint. Anybody I would know?
Yes, one is you would know.
Who?
I'm not gonna say it.
Give me a hint.
Think Tree House.
Oh. Did something come out about him or something, or just?
Well, there have been things that did, but then there was a personal incident that happened as well.
If you're comfortable talking about it, did he say something to you? Did he do something?
No, we were booking a show together.
Oh.
And then at a venue out where I live, and I have a full-time job. I have meetings throughout the day, and he had sent me messages. I wasn't responding because I was working my job. And then by the afternoon, it was like, well, you clearly don't want to work on the show anymore. And this was a year into working together.
Oh, wow.
And then that would have been the end of it, except that he decided to publicly flame me.
Really? What did he say?
Oh, terrible things.
On Facebook or something?
Things. Oh, yeah.
Like what?
I'll give him this point, that I wasn't funny, but also that I wasn't the only one doing the work of the show, and I have the receipts. I know I was the only one doing the work of the show. He got to show up.
Wow.
And then there was some differences of opinion about how to pay people that I wasn't on board with.
Like what?
Like not paying somebody that didn't come to the show. Like he wanted to pay somebody that didn't perform.
Why?
And I'm like, what kind of weird model is that?
Yeah.
So, it's not like they're a salaried employee.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anywho, there we go. But what about you? Who do you not like in the scene?
Barbara Walters of Interview. Actually, pull it out.
Yeah.
Get it out.
Well, I like asking. It's fun. People, it's interesting to see who answers.
Okay, your
And
turn.
what they
What do you
answer.
think?
Yeah.
No, I like everybody.
Liar.
I think everybody's really funny, really nice. Everybody in the comedy community is cool. And if you disagree with that, you're a bad person. You're a traitor. It's a brotherhood. But that's interesting, yeah. But did stuff come out about him too?
Yeah, there were some things. Some things he talked about publicly. Like he got busted for having drugs. He made jokes about it on stage.
Sure.
And he's like, okay, well, welcome to comedy.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. That's whatever. I meant more like,
other stuff.
Other stuff,
Yeah.
but nothing on that front. Okay, well that's positive, but definitely sounds like an unhinged thing to do to trash people online in that capacity. I'm sorry that happened.
Thank you.
I'm sure that felt really bad.
Oh, it sucked.
Yeah. But I hope people reached out to you and were cool, were nice.
They were, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Surprising people coming out of the woodwork saying.
Like who?
Well, that I'm not going to say.
Oh, okay.
Because
they said something nice to you? Okay.
Well, no, yes, that they were nice because then that implies that they too do not like this person. And I don't want to throw them under the bus.
Gotcha. So, okay. Okay. Yeah.
All right, now back to me in charge.
All right, Valerie, one word to describe your past.
All right, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I think that's it, right?
Okay.
Anything else you?
No. All right, are you ready to revisit what you've said about your one word?
Tell him first.
Oh, really?
No?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
All
He
right.
needs to know how he's
This is actually
organically.
Gotcha.
This would actually be a good game show question.
Yeah, that is
All right.
fun. Yeah.
One word to describe your future.
Future. Ooh, what's like a synonym for uncertain? Like, like hopeful. Uncertain but hopeful. What's like a good word?
Unwritten.
Unwritten. Ooh.
I'm not supposed to do
The
that.
rest is still unwritten. Into the journey. You know, like how do you what's a word for
I
that?
can't think of one.
Uncertain but good, you know?
Yeah. There's no rule book. I just say one word.
I feel like I'm about to enter a new chapter or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know what, and it is unwritten.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want to hear what you chose the
Yes.
first time and then in
Yes.
18? So in 2016, you couldn't choose one word. That's a running theme
Okay.
here. Death, life.
Oh, look at me.
And
Ugh.
then in 2018, it was fame, death.
What is wrong with me?
I don't know.
Really more optimistic.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
more
I
upbeat
think
this
so. Yeah. I'll probably get, there will be some bad times, but I think there will be a lot of good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, this is an exciting year for you.
Yeah, we'll see. I think after the Fringe, it'll, things will be a little bit more clear, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents Martin Urbano Volume 2. Volume 3. Goodness. Tell us where we can find you if you want to be found on social media.
I've been using Instagram a lot.
Yeah.
That's like my new one. I don't like Twitter. Twitter bums me out. I don't use it at all. TikTok I kind of stalled out on, but Instagram at Martin Urbano Jr.
Very important. Is there a Martin Urbano that you get confused for?
There must be.
Yeah.
Out there. Somebody took that handle. And I'm pissed about it. But I think it's kind of fun to have like a little I'm Robert Downey Jr. It's like no, this is like the character.
Oh yeah, that's
the character's
true.
Martin Urbano, but I'm Martin Urbano Jr.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Martin got to be the comedic genius that you heard today just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Martin Urbano. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Martin.
We did it. Thank you.
You did.